So this is about communications and science, and about the Trade Center, and about Washington, D.C. racketeering with Connecticut branches of government, confessed, and recorded, confessed, and demonstrated, and communicated even their role, and then they're also recorded consciously, criminally, having pretended other by saying other out of sequence into records with Connecticut cases as people involved with sequence racketeering with the Ninth Circuit right before the Trade Center attack, and further than was proven. They're involved with racketeering with people interstates from my state, intercities also involved intercities with worse interstates maintained lie progressions. See, we have New Britain, a whole bunch of people in New Britain Superior Court were confirmed, recorded, and confessed racketeering roles with a whole bunch of people tied to West Farms Mall and with the area around there. And as people involved with racketeering with churches, Jewish community centers, wire racketeering, again, worse than interstates, and with AT&T, people that work for them. Nothing against you personally, AT&T. These are people involved with former director of the FBI down, other agencies and their family members, and retired and standing judges. Criminal uses of on and off their play. It's demonstrated how they keep sequence racketeering roles tied to the confess. This is since I was a kid. Since I was a kid in the same grammar school, they have recorded also New Britain Superior Courts and other courts and other campuses of each age. And then the adult campuses are involved with racketeering, like, and their narratives are towards the type of jobs. Oh, look, now they're not going to get an award because they wrote something hateful years ago. See, in other words, they're making people stay on an offensive business, putting everyone in everyone else's business, and when it comes time to have some report mandated law, no one cares about anything. You know, in other words, no one cares about actual sequence shifts that show this because we have judges saying things into records after they already communicated other, and that as a communicate, there's no misinterpretation of them. These are people with forging names, switching names roles. These are people with criminal uses of two Saudi families at least, of a Kuwaiti family, and of a whole bunch of foreign and domestic with and as the value of ours, originally still criminally foreign influence. So long since before our founder's birth, so sickly, it maintained steady lie progressions. And what they facilitated as needs for everyone to cover it up as styles of liars in relationship to nature's perfect value progression. Is nature of volume will not leak. Nature being identity, being the, and that's why, yeah, this is science, but we have, forget the debatable. See, they need to have debatable, and what they're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering, hiding exculpatory evidences and making up inculpatory evidences, forging names, switching names. So we have the branches, crime acting, and methods recorded interbranch, individually grouped and together. These are criminal uses of the same. I know them well with this, actually recorded. And see, they're preventing free speech to demonstrate this. They prevent writing in courts. And the Britain Superior Court is, I didn't understand. I didn't know this about when I was a kid. I learned things as an adult after I never saw other people. See, like, tied to my neighbor slash S, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated together. Even the ones that didn't go to CCSU are involved with racketeering with various natures of the departments, and with my a whole bunch of ways with my Weathersfield police chief. And the one years ago had a girlfriend that lived in the house of a Cololo family that came in there. Now there's a Bob Chase associated that confessed, recorded, and demonstrated that a Phil Close involved with his roles with with falsified police reports and with evidence is racketeering with the Britain Superior Court, and they have a methods of it because they prevent free speech, and they're preventing means to they're also forging and switching names. They're doing way worse. Now these are people that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated as a Saudi woman, and there are police forms with other nations and shared with people tied to a whole bunch of ways to West Farms Mall and to places on and off New Britain, CCSU, and West Hartford, New Britain. There's a guy with a ponytail. They also have criminal uses of lawyers recorded, confessed, and demonstrated because they have crime messages lawyers are indifferent to, and they just oh, so that's our job originally still. So that's in other words, these are people preventing mandated law enforcing child offenders through administrations. This is sick through entire lives. We had this never learned. They showed me how to do that. Every day I talk, they're in the background lying. People I never had conversations because they forge names, switch names. Whole bunch of guys tied to a detective Samuda, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. These are racketeering with foreign and domestic military. Also on off. And see now I don't know where my wife lives now, but I mean, she comes here and we still get along with my ex-wife. But see, now everyone's no, so oh, write a letter, write a letter. But no one understands it. They already know we communicated this, and they get scared because the Weathersfield police are recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they were told to forge names and switch names for threats, and with their falsified police reports for threats. These are also people who have worked criminal enterprises, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with roles with trafficking, for example, attaching me and little kids to fake locations with child sex offenders with WFSB. And now these are people with West Hartford campuses, and there's a Parker English, and there are people all along Walker Hill Road that are Chris Walters and that are Kerr family and that a DeMoro family and that a Hanson family and a Phil Cololo, other people that didn't go to my school, recording Fest 2 with them. I didn't have classes with them. These are people that I only know from context where this is what they were used to make those confessions about the courts, to communicate with their needing to pretend. In other words, that's why they don't give anyone writing. In other words, I have to. They're taking away people's entire lives by constantly, uh, lying in the background, putting using databases for racketeering. That also has them using my new and past neighbors with that, with the Dillon family, a whole bunch of people with military, foreign and domestic, and on and off to Rut Highway involved with this Bob Chase with New Britain Superior Court with child sex offenders and with medical racketeering, foreign and domestic. These are also people involved with racketeering from with the co-defendants, a former director of the FBI, and with their criminal uses of the witness protection program tied to my area, as people also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated crime acts with other overt criminal enterprises, all juxtaposed, and that tied some way to DACA. So even if they're undercover too, they're also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with sequence racketeering, mail crime rolls, wire crime rolls, and then pretending not to realize that and appreciating, valuing, forging names, switching names, valuing everyone with value as fake, and all it's the perfect world. So first thing that's maintained because those lie progressions are exploited from there. That's why we have it's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. There's no way to have um, Biden and a prosecutor run for a president of the government, even entertaining that what they call debate and what they call argument. These racketeering with little age of fact sheet, a whole bunch of doctors involved with medical racketeering with the sex offenders problem and the women judges roles and black and white, and they're pretending to perceive prejudice and racism. The judges. The judges pretending to perceive such is recorded because of the sequence racketeering. Their names with their roles with interbranch crime methods, forging names, switching names of officers from different cities, falsified police reports into databases, telling the news attached to people. This is sustained. These are the whole bunch. The people I do know tied to my neighbors also recorded, confessed, demonstrated intercities roles with the same racketeering with the people that are involved with caring for the kids of prisons, little kids prisons, DCF, the adult prisons, Sandy Hook, Newtown, recorded, confessed, demonstrated, involved with racketeering tied to people with uses of a teacher from West Hartford, for example, named what's her name? O'Neill. But see, what they're using, what they do, they make problems between kids. Like if they know they're gonna need someone, they have different people with each of the schools in town, intercity, involved with racketeering uses of CCSU already. And this is simultaneously while they were training state police. and these are again racketeering with former director of the FBI through administration. Sequence shifts reveal this. New Britain Superior Court recorded, confessed, and demonstrated they used people from my town who are tied to a Scalora family, and a whole bunch of people from my town made pretend they knew me in context I didn't. Sequence shift. They confessed this, recorded, demonstrated it. Involved racketeering with New Britain Superior Court with people on off like route from my town right to CCSU on and off Paul Manafort Drive. They have recorded criminal uses of Paul Manafort because we have on and off the state judicial branch offices also involved with racketeering with that and with color. And they make and they put everything about behavior because they have little sneaky games with the suburbs and with color. And regardless of who they're making, like they have whole groups involved with sequence racketeering, which is also tied to the Phil Claw with a whole bunch of people on and off Two Ride Highway involved with on and off the state judicial branch offices with black and white female judges and some guy who I don't know the name of, also tied to a kid who used the name Bayrock. This is also because these are also people with a woman Russian lady who's a doctor involved with uh, um, use their uses of Facebook for racketeering methods. For example, with the rape threats about regarding little kids, and then they pretend they lie about your behavior in response to it. Now, these are also people long recorded, confessed, and demonstrated how to use the sensibilities of little girls and boys because the intelligence community is sick. Now, these are people that knew that their parents were already involved with racketeering with the Trade Center, with other nations before the Trade Center attack and since. And now I can't get a response, and they know they're saying they'll say, "Oh, other in the background," because they can't say it now because then the response shows them liars, delusions wrought, sick natures, see criminal deceasedness nature. I'm not a lawyer. These are people who recorded, confessed, demonstrated consciously criminally having been blaming the real causes of predicate acts on other people, other things, others, and valuing that, and even forcing it respected, which is in minutes with tied cases involved with also sequence shift inside the sequence shifting and sequence racketeering and other natures of it, and roles with it recorded confessed from people in Connecticut tied to the Trade Center attack context, proven and further recorded. And that led up to a 2006 case with former director of the FBI, Robert Luskin, leading up to that, and since leading up to the Trade Center attack, and then leading up to that 2006 case, people from my town, all connected to the House/S in my area with the child sex offenders, abuses of kids I know. See, but the way that I can only explain it is needing to counter their racketeering acts against me. They're also recorded consciously, criminally, pretending people have conspiracy theories so they could stop talking right there, and just pretend their integrity, their title is integrity. It's not. See, that's how you have to have the sequence racketeering too. They're preventing mandated law, hiding exceptions to law that they're criminally hiding denial of the value of it because they're already invested and capable of being anything but sick originally and still. Well, this is what forgiveness is for. So they have everyone making convictions, say something mean about a group that is, in other words, we have gay groups involved with child sex offenders, with judges involved with it, again, with prosecutors involved with it, playing these games, forging names, switching names, falsify police reports. Then they need to pretend things that aren't real. They need to pretend integrity is not real now. Now that what they really communicated is that and how they have a Saudi family that was tied to me, involved with racketeering with people that I never had anything to do with. Only exceptions are about their confessions and only times I know them. And about this, the quote, the other end of the quote, formerly worse than Forsaken, perfect world. We have a whole bunch of other FBI. We have the Witness Protection Program stewards and the overt criminal enterprises as the ones involved with New Britain Superior Court, Hartford Superior Court. They even offered, a judge offered to have my father through his deposition there. My father was a pro se plaintiff against um, former director of the FBI, but also his involvements with people through time. He beat an NLRB case, National Labor Relations Board, and this is those people are also at the same time when they were using the sex offenders with prosecutors' kids and the police chief's kids and his extended family members' kids. Like these are people involved with like a Grisey family and like nurses, foreign and domestic, have racketeering uses of hospital campuses and stuff, fire campuses of each age connected. So there are various departments at CCSO also involved with the racketeering here. Also various departments and people associated with Trinity College and with the military, foreign and domestic, Kuwaiti military. But see, it's from off campuses. So they're trying to hide. So when people need to say things like that, they're making, oh, well, we have to defend our campus. I'm not trying to say that this is from off campus. That's why there's forging names, switching names. These are people also with the lawyer Robert Luskin, the former director of the FBI. His lawyer's name is Robert Chevrolet, and I don't know if he's still associated with Farmington Avenue, which is down the street from the Harry Beecher Stowe Mark Twain house. Now they have a whole bunch of people recorded, confessed, demonstrating involved with racketeering with that area as intercity ones with my area. Now these are people that went to careers, undercover, whatever. I didn't realize that, but I do realize there were recorded roles with wire crime, mail crimes, then lying about it. Now these are also people with news that knows that they use, for example, pseudoscience. They hear me use pseudoscience, so they start using it fake. Just because you're a science doesn't mean in other words, the CNN knows that they're not real science because they're insulated, they're speaking through others, and they know that that's, in other words, this is right through the administration's criminal uses of color, criminal uses of blaming on other things, others themselves. What is recorded racketeering against the people of Hartford, Connecticut, let alone of every nature of city, of Wethersfield, let alone. I'm talking about myself, but I'm realizing that is worse. But that's the same thing. The racketeering is against me every city, intercity. That's how I saw how they're exploiting everyone. Actually discerned. Now one has learned. Say they use the undercover people to steal people's identities for another nature of racketeering, for sequence shifting, furthering categorical lies that they use to insulate the sensibilities of each age of fact treatment nature, exploited that way. Because then you're in the suburbs or in the cities, you're not going to see anyone except for people you know. And you're like, you know how many people there are? And no, these are the people that are like criminal uses of whatever they have at the end of Town Line Drive through time with foreign and domestic, and they have the little hotels there in the highway. Now that these are also the people with the shared policing of the stores and through time, and like in Newington near the Lowe's that recorded, confessed, and demonstrated a Jerry Kerr, also with other people associated with them with New Britain Court, a Mike Kerr. And there were also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated even victims advocates involved with them with racketeering with kids through time, attaching little kids to fake locations, fake ties to other people, fake natures of relationships to other people, fake sequence relationships to other people. They use that. They use a John Maiano and a Rick Cian Faglione to pretend they knew me before I ever. In other words, I saw Rick Cianfaglione. I don't know him. I never hung around with him one time when he was in high school. After he came back from high school, he made all these confessions because they had him and John Maiano, who I stayed back because when I knew him because he also begged me right after my car broke. I should have figured out, but I had to learn anyway because this is what I wanted to. Because everyone's a liar. You get mad at people for lying, but and for lies tell truths. Like when you see someone switch what they say and stuff like that. In other words, but I figured it all out now. We could all we need is to get them to stop the forging names and switching names into branch, and we need the name. There's a woman who works at a whole bunch of people tied to a Nordstrom, tied to a Scalora family, and I don't know all the names of the people, but these are people with foreign and domestic military, and with um a bunch of medical racketeering and identity theft. There's a whole bunch of teachers from West Hartford and medical racketeering, foreign and domestic, associated with an old Neil lady. Also, she's involved with racketeering with people from Sandy Hook, associated with the school her kid was at, report per WFSB, involved with them, with principal sex offender, and prosecutors involve roles uses of their kids, because they already attached me and my family to fake conversations with themselves and their drug clicks, like with doctors too, that are involved with racketeering, with overt drugs and with private drug racketeering, and their roles with like undercover things and stuff like that used for it. And like there's a so they have all along that route all the way into Cromwell, and then they have all the boxing gyms. They have all the insurance companies. They have all the evidence reception and perception. They're just jobs that are criminally foreign influenced. So they're involved with racketeering still against whole areas individually grouped together, and they're making everyone indifferent to it. Otherwise, they're going to steal your identity. This is what we have to counter, and you'll see what sick people they raised who think they're good people. Our nature's good per another thing that they were automatically temporary positive. See, these systems are tactically ulterior from the one that is true always, to the finite, to the active, and to the progression's value at the same time with those two other natures of sequence nature, two semi-natures of sequence nature before and after, that are also discernible per science. It's not even debatable. What with lies or physical delusions, criminally foreign influence, science is self-valued, not by accident, right there. And that's recorded with free speech. So now they're going to put Biden in. They used the color criminally through the Obama administration. All we need is recorded right now for instant evolution. You know how much money people they owe? I'm not going to bring it into money because, in other words, let's just stay on the Racketeering Act. They need that because they're using private criminally. If I was Facebook, I would sue the judges and the FBI associated with recorded with the racketeering with the Russians here, also with the election spots. There's also a Tom Peruta, and is a Peruta with the press, associated with the a press, and like a I don't know him. I think might have met him real quick, along in that conversation, tied to his roles with all along that route that goes by from Glastonbury over the bridge by the judicial branch offices, and then all the way through Wethersfield, part of Wethersfield, through Rocky Hill, through Cromwell, to can go any further. And then there's like a Lions Den there, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with CCSU, where they're training state police, prison people that run prisons, and they're involved with foreign and domestic military racketeering. And our military is involved with identity thefts and like shared girlfriends and they use that because one of them with a whole bunch of brothers in a Delafair family. I never had a class with them. They know where you're going to walk and things like that, and they time illusions into the intelligence community families. They also keep needing to hide life progressions because of their racketeering roles with databases and with sequence shifts, and uses of black by the people with it, because they're trying to protect. Like they had that kid walk in there when I was sitting next to the Mike Roberts. And this is already, I'm having this conversation since I was in grammar school, then high school, then middle school, and now high school. They're playing these games. They're hiding the live progressions tied to this guy, Mr. O'Brien, Mrs. O'Brien, involved with police forms, long time confessions when I was in grammar school. I never had a classroom. Sought me out just for that. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated racketeering roles by people tied to them with the house where the old police chief had the reportedly the girlfriend who had the dog that tried to kill us. Like it would just come through the door. And it was like a crazy dog from they had. Like they need they also have my new and past neighbor involved with interbranch racketeering and some prison cliques and foreign and domestic military associated with this Dillon guy. And real estate companies also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the racketeering of Hartford courts and New Britain Superior Court leading up to and in the Trade Center attack. They were crimes with on-off CCSU with their investigators. They don't think I know about that, but that's recorded, confessed, and demonstrated. And then when they recorded, confessed, and demonstrated themselves, forging names, switching names with the branches of government individually grouped and together, switching names of officers, attaching me to fake locations, fake arresting officer, which that detective Samuda is also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with sexual harassment of girls involved with the business department and with the various natures of departments at CCSU. That's a guy I believe it's the same guy who was calling in and saying things that he was going to rape a girl or saying like things like scary to her over the phone like that, sexually oriented on CCSU's campus. Now I never had he was never arresting officer me pretending he was arresting me pretending I was in a hospital that he works at. He's also, in other words, he switched his names, his identity with an officer Magnanos, also involved with a whole bunch of officers, foreign and domestic, with East Hartford, also with a Demorrow family, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering all along the South State Highway, and with that Town Line Drive, with the judges and with police forms and with foreign and domestic and with overt criminal enterprises. Now that was when I was young. Those are people seeking me out for those confessions because that's what these are people. These are other natures of racketeering because they have life progressions. They have to hide their actually recorded natures into branch. So the Britain Superior Court has names forging and switching. They have women judges, black and white women judges involved with racketeering with KKK themed, Confederate flag themed child sex offenders, male crime cliques, wire crime cliques, people with the Eastern States Narcotic Drug Task Force also involve wire crimes, mail crimes, all kinds of medical racketeering, drugs racketeering with the people further, foreign and domestic doctors involved further racketeering with child sex offenders, with their families, other natures of racketeering, the proven ones, also as ones they forced, sustained because of their roles with racketeering. And this O'Neill woman that WFSB is also recorded saying pretending other after they already recorded themselves communicating other because they're involved with communications racketeering that is also database tied because again it's all private interbranch overt criminal enterprises unrealized ones military foreign and domestic all the same sick suit and tie beasts. Campus Marcius rises in the East. So all I need is one name. They even have deans forging names, switching names. They brought their kids into it. They bring the family members of the courts and of the people tied to them. Because then you need your the people tied to your court to have their family tied in too. Because yours like this Delafair family involve a whole bunch of people involved with racketeering with little kids with drugs all kind of ways on Two Rod Highway on off of it. I don't know them. And the ones I do, I barely know. I only know them real quick, and they sought me out for confessions for this. Then now this is the people with the New Britain Superior Court and Intercity and Middletown involved with racketeering, a whole bunch of natures of racketeering with a Bob Chase, who's a sick delusions rock guy who wouldn't let me read a police report. That they're also involved with forging names, switching names with two Mendes police, also involved with the child sex offenders, like further recorded, confessed by this Bob Chase, like a Phil Collo, who's all, and a Scalora family is also involved with that on and off the campuses with identity theft, pretending he know me through time. This Phil Claw has also recorded, confessed, to demonstrate involved having pretended he was a friend of mine to my mother. He knows he was never a friend of mine. I know I never hung around with him growing up. I never hung around with, I don't even know, no, I never had a conversation in my life. I explained the exception to it, which is not a conversation. It was like they tried to, if they filmed that, that's right around the corner from the Samuel Dix house. Also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with three Pandolf brothers, at least, and his parents involved with racketeering with intercities with New Britain, with as people involved with racketeering uses of junkyards, of a Mike Pantoff, also with military racketeering, identity theft, sequence shift rules, database racketeering rules. Also with uses of lawyers tied to McCord's, also involved with DACA with them. A whole bunch of people with DACA and with the Trade Center recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with the Morrow family, also involved with state police, interstate, and worse, with foreign and domestic overt criminal enterprises. They also said that um, Mike Corona's auto body on Weathersfield. Years ago, they confessed, demonstrated that. I don't know those people. And Mike Corona, I don't know him except for that content. In other words, I know he's involved with racketeering all along that strip and then up to Fox Connecticut News. The G Fox building next to it, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering with two Mendez police. Janito Mendez pretended he was in a conversation with me, forging, putting me in quotes and putting the name of police equipment and putting that in databases. He also with the Weathersfield police chief and were retired and standing from that the police department. Also with doctors involved with forced sustained sexual, medical, and social abuse of kids, as the people pretending to be against such. Now, see, we have recorded used as a beast weapon. What's his name? They're using, oh, this guy wrote something mean on Facebook. They're pretending to be against that because they're leaving out, they have recorded these gay groups involved with sexual racketeering, for example, where they're preventing mandated law. Then they want to make opinions with strangers. And the police use come into your house because they're involved with racketeering with the other branches already. Now they forge names and switch names and they lie and they attach you to fake conversations when you say no words. So you can't speak with them in person because they're little punks. They're cowards. Who is not a coward? Put your name on paper. Put a fake name on paper. You cowards, and respond and keep one spelling in sequence regarding the people we'll talk about, because we need a response because the court is recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with the racketeering. And then if you try to tell on it, what are they going to do? They make people make rape threats with their own Facebook page from the Britain Superior Court, and then they arrested me for trying to report it. And with other stuff that brought it up, I didn't even get to that. That was with the principal sex offenders campus when they were still forcing it. And then they put me in with this huge bond I couldn't pay. So where I ended up for 6 months in Sandy Hook, Newtown. Now that's where the principal reportedly is now. Now that guy, that before I went in there too on Facebook, the people involved with forging names, switching names, fake conversations with me, who went to my school, involved with the drug cliques and the interbranch drug cliques as doctors, like this Leahy family, a whole bunch of men and women in their family involved with racketeering, also on off CCSU, and with prosecutors with their kids involved with racketeering through time, interstates, intercities, recorded, confessed, to demonstrate all along that route that goes by the state judicial branch offices. Now there were also like the prosecutors and training them and stuff like that associated with like a place that used to be called Rookies. Recorded, confessed, demonstrate. Also, with there was like people associated with a Cuddy family that I never had anything. I never had one word of conversation with any of them. Now these people, um, they're recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering that's been with the child campus that I knew that had him involved with the confessions. He didn't go there to my campus when I went there, but people at that campus made confessions to me because a former mayor Gold and other mayors, retired and standing, are further involved with the racketeering. See, they're name stacking. They already invested themselves attaching me to fake locations, fake words in the past. Sequence racketeering. That former mayor Gold had his daughter come up to me 2 times, yelling at me, and then God knows what she was pretending she was mad at me for, because I didn't even notice her in my class. I don't even know if she was in my class. And then I told you, I mentioned on Facebook before, one other exception. See, they're exploiting, except they're doing it offensively. That I never saw her in my life, except for those when she's doing the racketeering like that. And then now she's got her father with on and off um Millwoods Park, recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with Fox Connecticut News, WTNH, and WFSB. They're playing softball there for the racketeering involved with torturing me every time I try to say about what people ask me since before the Trade Center to report from other towns and from Saudi Arabia. And then I was in the Trade Center attack context right before it in the Ninth Circuit. Panel of judges were shown post-dated documents. My father again, and that proven led to 2006 case with former director of the FBI, his co-defendants like a Charlie Conch, a Dominic Labriata, and a Thaddeus Grabowski. Thaddeus Grabowski, those three guys and their family members also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with a whole bunch of racketeering with the people that came in when I was in fourth grade to that house, tied to the police chiefs with the racketeering still with it, and with the new and past neighbors in between us and behind them and stuff like that. Now, it's nothing personal against anyone. They need to force sustained racketeering uses of areas. They ask well how they're using the gay groups. You know, that's how they're using. Oh, we're against. You said something on Facebook in 1940, and whenever these people are involved with, then they block you or the behavior. They're preventing free speech. You can't call up the police because they'll lie about what's actually recorded, where and how the the um the branches have been acting criminally, individually grouped and together. So we need to get them to one name in sequence, and you're going to see how they use each of the departments of the campus. A whole bunch of people involved with Rocky Hill campuses, also involved with racketeering uses and or roles with it of and use of the English department at CCSU and of the library at CCSU. And they have the libraries further recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved with racketeering through time. I just remind. Don't forget too, they have glorified our founders' forced speech. Now one must teach, because no one taught you right. Vaccines this night. So get me a response. You can't. They're recorded, confessed. They're recorded and communicate, confessed, and demonstrated that they'll use. If I call on the phone, they'll use it for racketeering purposes. Now, this is also why you have to understand the spotters, how they're involved with the AT&T, with this Walters family, with the Washington racketeering, and with my new and past neighbors. How I know about their roles with the Dillon family and what he's doing, where he has people make confessions for him, and then he non-verbally confirms it. And this is also tied to affidavits I have and more I can get regarding him attaching other people to fake words, fake things. They do that with my family too. These are also people that attached people that were in the like me, my family involved. Like WFSB is involved with racketeering leading up to the Trade Center attack and since it, leading up to a 2006 Connecticut case and since it, as their roles also with Washington cases that were in worse than interstates one. This is a world locked sick boxing. So they have also involved like Asian families. And so obviously they're involved also recorded involved with like Russians, Asians with Hartford Hospital racketeering. Now there's a I believe he's retired now. I've been trying to get a response for there's a Judge Killian also with the racketeering method of saying recorded himself saying something after he's already recorded and involved with racketeering before that. And he's with physical delusions. He recorded himself with physical delusions and with racketeering with child sex offenders, proven and further. So he had roles sustaining that by attaching me to fake words, fake ties to other people, forging names and switching names with doctors' roles. We have other judges also in various natures of courts also before him, though, criminally involved, like with this Leahy guy. and there are more people with Harvard Hospital recorded, confessed, and demonstrated with the Dillon guy and my new and past neighbors with the drugs racketeering clicks here. I don't know if they know about that, but that their roles with the mail racketeering and with the wire racketeering and with their game with needing to force sustained problems because then they go, oh, now we're gonna have someone solve this, even when there's no little problem. See, once they make a problem one time, when they make you yell or something like that, they attach a lie to every truth, and they're making up truths at the same time. They already have been doing that. So we have offensive evidence racketeering natures originally and still. They need to pretend not to realize that, so they pretend to be against things like prejudice because they're sick in their souls. Now, get me who of New York is not a coward? Who of Hartford is not a coward? And I'll show you how to get relief for yourselves because you guys, the north end of Hartford, the most impositioned areas. See how the Fox Connecticut News is looking down on you? There's also the Main family, also recorded, confessed, and demonstrated involved racketeering with judges and with police forms. So we have to address how the branches are recorded originally and still. Crime methods individually, the not just the police departments individually though. They also have crime methods grouped like with the judicial branch. You have to deal with the judicial branch individually in a group. That reveals all fake politicians and uses of the word politics for racketeering, for criminally foreign influence states and areas self value. And how? It's maintained self value. Again, exploiting that theater, distinct and non distinct, where you're not going to see everyone around you. And when you do, in other words, that's used for fact cheating nature racketeering. This is identity racketeering, don't forget, with color. Color, the value of it, you see someone's white or black is exploited, you see formal racketeering roles. That's what it shows. You see formal pseudoscience roles. There's one reason that there is not evolution, especially without the denatured ground, let alone our value role with it. And right now, right on top of a river, the area mines. You can make more energy dropping water than it takes to make it. See, we're in a system where everyone's it's all right. You want to have opinions. You want to debate. You want to argue with someone. Focus on the exculpatory evidences that they've been hiding while they're making up inculpatory evidences. These are high predators with the weapons of their branches of government. These are also gun crimes. Their roles with gun crime spots, shooting where they train, everything tied to them originally and still. It is recorded as clear as day. Now you have to understand what is sequence true, the order to the finite, the order to the active, the order of progression's value. We're standing a progressive value. We're not just a temporary we're an unceasing, increasing nature of volume. So and yin yang does not part, for example. It cannot, it won't get smaller. This is about the invisible but still discernible. This is how the ancients would teach this. I didn't read that. It's demonstrable. So demonstrable that you can't teach yin yang properly if you don't understand how the sciences reveal English together. The whole species working together and valuing how we are, how and why we are individual, grouped, and species, nature, volume at the same time. Well, how could that be with that? Goes right inside the boxing. Tells us thing. So you see the two parts of the A. This is about the quality of diffusion. That is distinctly and non-distinctly the value of each letter, which is a sound note revealed by the ancients, because they didn't have criminal foreign influences, especially legalized, especially criminally legalized ones. You can't legalize criminal insidiousness nature. Nature itself, which again is the identity tied to all a value progression perfect, tied to all other identities, individually grouped and together, because that's what keeps it. That's why we're a complete. Each individual is a complete nature of volume. Individual, grouped, family. You have to be still complete. You have to be stay valued to what is species at the same time. Otherwise, you're not value temporary, lasting, positive. You're only just 10th pre-positive as criminal disease nature. So now this is logic scores. We have psych. I'm not a doctor. We have with psychology delusions wrought and involved with racketeering, and already has been. And so they have Miss Prisian. Well, that's my colleague. And these are people involved with justice racketeering, also private, not just the interbranch. All private tied to them are involved with the racketeering, and they were from since before they were in those positions. They were criminal uses of the live progressions and needs to hide them and rolls with that, self-valuing it. So who you know. In other words, the area where originally still recorded, you can't defend what they call as science and also at the same time from what is about organized crime, what caused slavery, a racketeering method that was entrenched here since before our founders' birth, who did not have free speech, who had speech forced with everyone else, the same sick way, distinctly, sickly, distinctly, consciously to keep how sickly non-distinctly from being self-valued by everyone to counter it together. Instead, they want any unity that would be formed to be then used as a breaching screen tool and weapon. They knew that people were going to come out of that, but they knew once they come out, they would just invest them to this, as this. We have the criminally foreign influence zoning laws. If you use real science, they're involved with the torture of and the fact cheap nature slavery of our founders. We have all kinds of natural means that would alleviate all kinds of needs for energy just to enable them. And just doing that would be relief for everyone because you'd be revealing a criminally foreign influence system that owes relief to everyone, let alone the most forsaken. Now, even if we take out a big portion of it and then make the rest of it great, not permanently. In other words, we could do things real fast for reliefs, but we have to do it as a religion, as pantheism. About the science again of this one identity of value progression. They made pantheism about plurality so they could keep perpetually semi-nature value. This is the simultaneous. If it's not simultaneous in nature, it's not complete. It's what it wants, or it forces it from here, Leith of IDs. I'd rather be temporary / lasting positive. I'd rather have our founders not forced. They're lost. Their loss is forced glorified because that's already been exploited. We have only breaching screens and tools allowed to speak. A Whisper Creek. Yes.